I'm curious how you've leveraged LinkedIn to grow your business, and if you had any sort of tips on using it.
It's interesting. I really jumped in only like a year ago, and I'm really glad that I did. It's really my go-to social network now. One thing I think is an interesting comment, but this is off the cuff, is it's because I don't hang out really on the other sites. I stopped, looking at Facebook some time ago. I mean, I'll drift on there once every few days just to sort of see it. But after a minute of myself scrolling, I realized that I really don't like the content on there. There's just so much bullshit on there and negativity.
Welcome to Direct to Consumer by Pilot House. This episode is a hot seat featuring iWon Organic CEO and founder Mark Samuel, as well as Pilot House co-founders Dave Steele and Jeff Shannon. Welcome, everyone. So Mark was already a seasoned entrepreneur in 2016 when he launched iWon Organics as a healthy protein-filled snack option. Since then, iWon has just exploded, growing 300% year over year and maybe even more during these quarantines by getting onto the shelves of over 5,000 stores and by growing iWon's e-commerce business at a really healthy clip month over month during the same period. So as huge fans of snacking, but not huge fans of the way that eating a whole bag of salt and vinegar chips makes us feel, we're thrilled to have Mark Samuels and smart snacking juggernaut iWon Organics on the hot seat. Welcome, Mark. How you doing?
Thanks. Appreciate you guys having me on.
It's fantastic. So I first became aware of you on LinkedIn, and I got a question here for how brand owners can use LinkedIn to kind of grow their business in a way that you might have, because I know you've got a really good following there. But I just wanted to start just with your sort of entrepreneurial journey in a nutshell and how it led into iWon Organics.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this now for 18 years, at least professionally, in terms of starting companies and being involved as a founder, all in different verticals. I started in real estate finance very early on, had a couple companies in that vertical, and then moved on to inventing a few things in the houseware space and sort of seeing the CPG world, and then got into health and fitness. The last few ventures have been in the health and fitness space, including iWon Organics being a nutrition-based snack company. I'm a lifelong fitness enthusiast. I live it. I'm in the gym 6 days a week, or now in my garage 6 days a week. But and I eat a certain way. I talk about balanced nutrition. Have eaten this way for 20 years. So the last few ventures being in the space that I really, really have a lot of passion for has been a lot easier. And that's how I found my way in iWon Organics. I wanted to get into the food space. I wasn't sure what it looked like, but prior to 2016's launch, I was looking around and seeing what voids were out there, and I thought that a savory snack that was a higher in protein, a little bit higher in fiber, with a balanced nutritional profile would be one that we could not only launch, but could be really the foundation to a whole line of snacks and foods, to grow a really, really strong brand. And so we started that in 2016, and here we are doing our thing.
Amazing. What were some of the first steps you took to, it's obviously like with potatoes, you slice them up, you put them in a fryer, there's probably some other stuff that goes into it, but you're actually like synthesizing sort of like not a new element, but a little bit. You're trying to create something that has the feeling of one of those kinds of snacks, but with a much different nutritional profile. How did you actually go about synthesizing this snack?
Well, we got our ass kicked for 2 years, and that's me specifically, because I had not been in the food space. And so understanding how co-packing and manufacturing works in when dealing with different foods, and specifically with nutritional profiles that looked like ours. We had a chip, for instance, that was our first core product that was higher in protein than what we are aiming for now. And it just didn't work. The taste and texture wasn't where we needed it to be, and we went ahead and launched it. And that's for anybody who's watching this, I mean, you cannot do that. It's use me. I mean, leverage off of my mistakes to go about a path that's going to be a little bit easier. And I say a little bit because there's nothing easy about this business whatsoever. but at least try to, minimize your hurdles. And so after really understanding and seeing how different ingredients worked, how they worked within manufacturing using extruders or fryers or the like, that was when I really discovered, okay, this is what works with this, and this is what doesn't work with this. And again, keeping to what our foundation is, using real food. So the core ingredients of our products are peas and beans and brown rice, at least for now. And it makes up the nutritional profile that we're looking for. So you had to find the balance, and that's what we did. But it took some time to get a hold of it.
And it was all trial and error. Like literally, you'd get you'd put in a formula, you'd have some ideas, you'd work with a fabricator. I don't even know. It's like a food. What's the term for the person, for the factory that does that? And then you just taste it and say that's not quite right, and on and on.
Yeah, somebody could use a food scientist. Somebody, there's people in this space who would, take all the time, the months that it took me to say this does work or this really doesn't work. That's not sort of how I go about it. I really like to get my hands in, hands dirty, as they say, right? I like to be involved. I want to know the processes, the steps it takes. I want to educate myself because that's where the value comes through later. Where we're at now as a brand and where we can take different snacks and different foods, a lot of it's up here now. That I would have never got if I had used somebody who could sort of just say, no, this is how you're going to do it, and this is where you're going to do it, and this is why you're going to do it. So in short, there are co-packers and manufacturers who will help you put together the products, and then you're just going to see, like you said, sort of trial and error. Is this product going to come out the way that you want it? Is it going to taste right? Is the texture there? Can you get the flavor profiles, to work once you've, added the seasoning? There's just a time frame that it's going to take for you to discover.
Very cool. I saw one of your posts recently where you were talking about, people have grand aspirations when it comes to building products like this, but you were sort of advising to build deeply, to get a product that that you think tastes good, get it into one store or just a local area, and really test deeply in that area to make sure that it actually has traction before you even think of expanding. That's something you stand by?
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to minimize it. Go back to try not to get your ass kicked all the time, right? And what I really mean by that is, what most don't talk about, and I'm vocal about it, is all the failures that go on. I mean, you read, it comes down your feed that somebody raised this and somebody's doing that, and there's a lot of fluff going on. And it's not just in the food and beverage space; it's in every vertical. But the reality is 90-something% of the businesses fail. And it's because they either don't know what they're doing, they didn't have experience, they didn't listen to experience, and or they just tried to grow too fast and didn't have the ability to do it. So I talk about going sort of an inch wide, a mile deep. And so a lot of people who do come to me, hey, can I ask you a question? This is what I want to do, this is something. And I really do start with the basics, and that is, all right, you have a product, great. All right, I have a cookie. Okay, you got the cookie. Does it taste good? Good. Does your mama say it tastes good? Good. Okay, now besides your mom telling you it tastes good, because she's usually going to tell you that anyway, why don't you go ask 15 friends who are going to tell you the truth, right? From there, then you can start exploring real sales. Number one is your 15 friends. Are they going to buy it? Not just are they going to buy it? Did they hand over cash, right? So that's obstacle number one, to see if you've got something viable. Number two is where again, you talk regional play. I have 2 local supermarkets. I'm in my house. There's one right down the street. It's a local small market for our community here. I can walk in there. I know the guy, right? Can I put my puffs in your store? He'll say, yeah, sure, right? And don't worry, I'll get money later if it sells. Start there. Did they sell? Do people come back for more of it? All right, great. They did. Go to your second store. Go do that again. Duplicate the process. There's ways of growing a business. Now, on the flip side of that is just the reality is who wants to grow that slow and at that pace? Not many. And it's also a very difficult business just to stay consistent with. You're not getting paid, and it's just slow. So, again, there's ways to do that small and then take it sort of deeper and regionally where you can add potentially 100 stores or so if you just find a couple, a couple smaller chains that are willing to ride with you on the onset of the business.
Interesting. So when for the question I want to get to is, what has been your biggest win for iWon Organics so far? I know as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for the next win. It's always it's sometimes hard to feel like a big success, but objectively so far, what you've built is a pretty incredible success. What do you sort of identify as your biggest win that you've had with iWon?
Yeah, I talk about small wins all the time. In fact, I'm actually doing this really cool for another time. I'm doing something really cool around small wins because I talk about them all the time. I think this is going to be an interesting answer. We're still around, right? We still have a fighting chance. I think that's a win in itself. We often we think so far ahead sometimes, right? And when you do that, you lose sight of what's happening right now. Like what's happening today. I mean, I talk about it with my kids and stuff like that, like just small wins. And, my kids have been great today. And I hate to get off topic. My kids have been great today. Like that's just such a win in this house, right? They want to, it's like sometimes it's chaotic. It's especially with what's going on right now. We've been in the house for how long? But as far as these wins for iWon, I really say, I mean, we're around. We just launched. Someone say, yeah, but didn't you just launch in Sprouts, nationally? Yes, that's a victory. It's not just a small win; it's a big victory. But the reality is, we're here today. We woke up today. We got on a phone call this morning and said, let's go tackle a few small wins today. And we have we have a growing, emerging, scaling business. Like I want to just be all in on that. I want to just be focused on that. On what's happening right now. Sure, we have a plan. It's not we have a plan. We know where we're going. We know where we want to be. But at the same time, your wins can come right now. And for us, it's being around. It's being vocal. It's being pushing our brand every single day and making it work and being really enthusiastic about the stuff that we're doing.
Very cool. What about your biggest fuck up? I know you've said that there's a few. I saw a post the other day where you were talking about, think about how much cash you need for your business. Now times it by 3. And I was wondering if there was a really good fuck up in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's every day. I mean, again, I'm so transparent. I wish I had more energy for you guys. I feel like I need energy. I just worked out like it was smashed me. So I'm giving you all that I have right now. I'm pulling for it. That's every day. Every day you're getting beat up. Every day you're going to get punched. I'd say punched in the face. That's kind of like a term I use, but I say you really, as with anything, you got to be careful with your cash, especially now, right? Nobody predicted what we've been dealing with for the last few months now. You've got to be beyond that when you're talking about, managing cash is where, where is the outlay going and why is it there? I think it's just being hyper focused and hypersensitive about the different line items in your business. It's not to say that you're not aggressive because you still have to be. Willing to take some chances and willing to push the envelope a little bit. But you do need to manage your cash and manage your financials, well. So there's plenty. I mean, we just did another small redesign to our packaging, which sometimes you see full rebrands and the like. But this one small thing, which we're super pumped about, it costs us some money, but it's minuscule. Like you may look at it and go like, I see what they did, but I wonder why they did that. It's because we really felt the benefit was there. So in hindsight, should we have done that the first go around? Of course, but I could probably say that about 82 different things, on a list of what ifs, right? And, you just can't live like that either. You got to be focused on sort of the things that are working and focused on and grabbing the small wins each day. And that's what we do.
Awesome. I wanted to get to this LinkedIn question now because LinkedIn is a platform that I've never really used professionally. Starting this new gig with Pilot House, I've really dove into it, and it's the way that I've sort of been able to connect to you and a bunch of other great entrepreneurs. I notice every post that you make has sort of dozens or hundreds of likes, comments. I'm curious how you've leveraged LinkedIn to grow your business, and if you had any sort of tips on using it.
You know, it's interesting. I really jumped in only like a year ago, and I'm really glad that I did. It's really my go-to social network now. One thing I think is an interesting comment, but this is off the cuff, is it's because I don't hang out really on the other sites. I stopped, looking at Facebook some time ago. I mean, I'll drift on there once every few days just to sort of see it. But after a minute of myself scrolling, I realized that I really don't like the content on there. There's just so much bullshit on there and negativity. And someone would say, but aren't those your friends? I go, yeah, they're my friends. I found myself really enjoying the stuff that's delivered on LinkedIn. And one cool thing that I do lean in with myself, it's part of being just neurotic in general, and part of my DNA is I knew that when I would go in, that I would stay in. So it wasn't like, I'm going to write a post today. It was, I'm going to write a post every day. And I will never not. And so the only piece of advice I could give there is, and where it would branch to this is, and because people now ask me or come to me, is you just have to be yourself. You can't think, there's not one post I ever thought about the day before. Not one. When I write a post or I upload something, it's literally off the cuff that minute. If you start thinking too much, it's like with anything in life, right? If you start thinking too much, I think it's ineffective. I also think it's not as true to yourself. And so that's been my theme. I'm super transparent. People who know me before LinkedIn or now, they knew me like that anyway. I'm just an all in, all honest, to sometimes to a fault, to be honest. And so that's the content that I deliver. And my only point is, those that like it or appreciate it or want to listen, they'll come. Those that they don't like it, they'll see it and then they won't come back for more. And that's totally cool. That's the main piece to it. You are to connect with people that resonate with you. It's not for everybody, right? It's not for everybody. It's delivering content that has value to somebody. For me, I say if it's had value for one person, that's fantastic. And that's the main theme that people should take for it.
Very cool.
Very cool. How much do you use LinkedIn to actually grow the business? I mean, obviously, right now you're B2B. I mean, that's your business, I would imagine. It's got to be critical that you reach out to more people. Like we obviously, this podcast, we share it on Facebook. A lot of our brand owners are on Facebook looking how to be better Facebook media buyers, that kind of thing, how to build their marketing. So we get a huge amount of business off this podcast directly. Do you find the same with your content on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. I don't know yet, but in terms of like, what does the number really look like, or, how deep does it really get? But I could say, I've had some retail opportunities come to us, right? Come to iWon Organics because of LinkedIn. Yeah. And it was the first time when a buyer messaged me. That doesn't happen. Do you know how difficult it is to get a buyer's appointment just to even get? The buyer messaged me, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. But at the same time, I was, I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I got to tell you, I think it reverts back to the other thing that I mentioned, which was, I think the buyer had an affinity to me, right? He's like, I like this guy. Yeah, that's what I hope, right? I mean, I'm just being optimistic. But like, again, go read my posts. People know that they're like, this guy is fucking delivering honesty. And, if that brings a buyer or two, I've had a second one since then. And then I believe that there's a lot to say about that, specifically maybe in food and beverage too. It doesn't have to be so mundane. You could build something really cool by always being yourself, being honest, and being truthful. And I think things happen for a reason. Now, as far as direct to consumer, I don't know. I do know that people message me also with that just independently and say, I just ordered some of your snacks. So I do know people have done that before, but again, it's not the intent of it. The intent is to deliver value to people who are on LinkedIn each day, and I hope that it captures someone's attention and and does something for them.
Yeah. On that note, Mark, I was hoping to maybe hijack the conversation a little bit towards that direct to consumer space. I'm super bullish when it comes to direct to consumer, consumer packaged goods, right? Because of my own, when you speak from that place of authenticity, I see it in my own life that I want my cupboard full of your snacks as opposed to the snacks that are available at the local retailer. And if I can snap my finger and have that delivered to me and put that on autopilot, like that is an easy behavioral change that just recently, I put this here, you can see, there's this brand called Bear.
Yeah.
It's literally, the ingredients are bananas, right? It's literally just baked bananas and they're chips. And to me, I can order a 12 pack, I can put it in the cupboard, and I can always have them available at all times. It's almost a change of psychology, a change of behavior. And if your paid media or organic efforts can help change people's behaviors by telling your story and basically saying there's a better way, you don't have to rely on your weekly grocery shops to have that food available. You can simply order and supply and have it at all times to make the good decisions easy. That's an area that I'm just fired up about. So when I was on your About Us page and I read your sort of our story talking about, I'm just going to read this out here. We call ourselves iWon because we believe most people don't exactly feel like they win when it comes to food. And that's especially true when it comes to snacking, right? When you reach up into the cupboard for a snack food, it's almost always a junk food. And you just feel like defeated after. You're like, man, like I was on a good track record up until that point. I make sure I have a good breakfast. I make sure I have a good lunch. But when it comes to that afternoon craving time, I almost always throw my day away. And so when it comes to direct to consumer, I think the challenge becomes, how do we change behaviors ultimately to have the cupboard stocked full of a healthy product instead of a junk product? And as soon as you have a consumer buy into that belief that the cupboard should always be stocked with the good choice, then you've got customers for life. And all of a sudden the CPAs work, the LTVs work. The challenge being it's a $24 order. I mean, just the cost per acquisition gain becomes very difficult unless we can have people become customers for life. Does that kind of make sense with that line of thinking?
Yeah, I mean that's the world you're in, right? That's direct to consumer. So sure, I mean everybody wants to be in. If they have a snack company or a food company, they want to be in your cabinet, right? They want to be in everybody's cabinet. It's not reality, and so that's what makes it easier for me and for us as a brand. We want to be in your cabinet because we know we have a healthier, better for you, better tasting snack option that tastes like something you're familiar with. And here's how it's made, and it's organic, and it's by people like us, right? I'm just the dude from California, and I've got an amazing team of people who have been there from the beginning, and we love what we're doing. That's the story. It's all we can do. And we're going to compete out there with others who are in our space or in similar verticals, and it's something we enjoy doing too. I enjoy competing. So how you get there, that's your business. If we're talking direct to consumer, does it work? That I can't tell you. Every brand is different. Every brand hopefully has tried to pursue direct to consumer, tried to see what an acquisition cost looks like, tried to see if they can make back that acquisition cost over time and see if they have some lifetime value. that's your business. As you can tell, I mean, I know the space, and sure, it's all good.
I think the piece that Dave was sort of getting at there too, and something that we sort of specialize in, is that ability to tell that story ahead of, before they get to your site. So like your site is there to show this is the product, this is what it's made of. The beauty with direct to consumer that we find with products like this is that ability to put something in front of the store that is sort of like a personal story. And we actually had our team take a look at the offer and come up with a few ideas for angles ahead of time. And the one that really resonated with me was this idea of like someone writing a blog post about a 30-day chip challenge. Like I literally will eat a bag of chips a week, pretty much. I have a bag of chips in my, in my cupboard a week. And I would just like to know if, and honestly, I like, it's a love-hate relationship with chips, because it's like I have a hard time not eating the whole bag, and I always feel like shit after. I always feel like shit in the morning. I have this weird feeling in my gut with all these little, it's not great. So I feel like if you could get a blog post of someone just being like taking a 30-day chip challenge of just like, this is what I ate, and making that healthy choice again and again, I could just see that being a big win, and actually like helping convince people on your site to be ready to make that purchase. But go back, tell us a little bit about your, obviously your sales. I just saw a recent thing on LinkedIn that showed how you guys had a small dip during shelter in place when people weren't grocery shopping as much, but sort of since then it's been through the roof. Talk about that a little bit, and talk about your e-commerce efforts that have happened more or less organically.
Yeah, we saw we were scaling well at our retail partners, and then had onboarded a couple more natural and conventional retail partners right at the beginning of the shelter in place. So the timing wasn't great, but at least we, as with anything, we sort of looked at the plus of it that we got it done. And so there was a softening at store level for late March through April, and then as May hit, people, you can feel it specifically. You can feel it, people starting to get out a little more. They're not as rushed in the shopping in the store, and so they're also not stockpiling things that didn't make sense early in SIP, which was comfort foods, things that aren't as healthy for you, legacy brands, inexpensive products. All made sense. I respect that. I totally get it. But now that that's kind of gone away, and there's been a little bit more of a reset here, we're starting to see our sales in store go back up, and that's great. We're very, very thankful for that. Again, we're a healthy, better for you option, and that's our focus. The foundation of it is immunity, right? I mean, don't you want to be healthy, and how do you get there? It's what you're doing in the kitchen, as I always say. So with that said, that's our in-store preview. And then direct to consumer, as you can imagine, we saw a lift there right away. Our makeup for direct to consumer is mainly Amazon. So we're like 95% Amazon, and we love it. I'm not one that plays that card of, but what happens if you don't own the data, you don't own, sure. You could, depending on what position you take, you could say 100 things. But the thing is, we have a growing business there. We have a great team that manages it for us. And we, as far as the products that we offer there, we originally only had our single serves, which of course come in an 8-count, and the numbers made sense and the like. And then we launched 2 exclusive mixed case options, which have been exploding. And then the big piece is what just happened this week. So just coincidentally that we're talking about it, why we'll probably get another lift and really build a big direct-to-consumer business is that we're offering our 5-ounce. So we never offered our 5-ounce bags on any direct-to-consumer platform, including our own, and we're now doing it on Amazon. So what does that do? People say, well, what's the difference? Well, because there's a big group of consumers who are looking for more value. Some appreciate and want the single serve, which also makes sense, but there is the group of people, it's why Costco does so well, right? You're talking about lowering your cost per ounce. And so that's what we just did. So we believe we're going to go get a whole other consumer base online in the coming weeks and months. And we think we could double our growth like within the next 30 to 60 days, depending on how quickly we can scale that out and stuff like that.
I think that's super interesting. I think you're probably right about that. We always take a look at our guest ads before we come on, and I saw that all of your Facebook ads are currently, they're all they're retail focused, right? They're all about going, find us at Kroger's, find us at this store. Have you done any experimentation yet in direct to consumer, direct to your store?
We don't spend any money, and the stuff that you've seen, that's actually just a lot of it's been on pause. We spend some money on the retail focused ads. That's to support retail, and we've actually made a small change there, which is going to be soon to be in effect, which is they need to come to a landing page so that we can collect emails. That's anybody who's watching this. Hopefully, that's just a free piece of advice. And again, take mine or not. It is. I'm just trying to offer value. Is that those ads, because we do, again, it's to support our retail partners. I want to show that we're at Kroger. Then I can specifically I can specifically geo-target that east area and stuff like that, or Sprouts and Whole Foods in SoCal and Safeway here in North, that type of ad. But we do want to try to capture some information. So we're going to send them to a landing page. It's going to capture an email. Now, with that said, as far as the question about how we done direct to consumer to our website, we've had a general ad that drove them to the website. It never got a return the way we wanted to see it. Did we go all in on it? Not yet. So my comment would be, and it would be unfair to say whether or not we had success or failed. We just haven't gone all in on it yet. We haven't given its fair shake. And when that time happens, I'm not quite sure yet.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I think when you are able to go to direct to consumer to the Shopify store with the right strategy, I think you're absolutely right in that it could have a real doubling effect on things. Cause I think we're in this era. It's funny. I talk to different people every day who have even products that aren't unique, even we have, I can't give away niches here, but I have some friends who've just created a funnel that goes direct to the right audience for a product that's for sale everywhere. But because they do it in the right way with the right content, oh, hi there, it just blows up. Mason?
Yeah.
Welcome to Hot Seat.
Mason?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the Amazon strategy? Just go back to that a little bit. So you guys are growing there like crazy, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're changing your product offering to reach different size bags, to reach different size people or different types of people. What are you doing on the ad side there? Do you have a team dedicated to?
Not much. I know it's another one. That's another interesting one. So yeah, we're not changing our SKU mix. We're just adding to it. Just because we've seen it working. So the first ad was going into a variety pack, which we should have done a long time ago. Yeah. We got a vegan variety pack, and then we have another variety pack. It's actually already climbed. The first variety pack we threw up there was only a few months ago. It's already our number 2 SKU. So that works. So there's some value for somebody if they haven't done variety packs yet. Number 2 is adding the bigger bag. So you just get more value. And it's not going to be they'll be like, well, aren't you going to cannibalize? And no, because people who like the single serves, they like them for multiple reasons. It's kind of like me. I mean, it's on the go and you don't have a 5 ounce, but then there's a whole family like us too, that could have a 5 ounce, a few 5 ounce bags up in their cabinet. So totally. As far as ads, no, we haven't spent a ton because we didn't like where the ACOS was getting, and it wasn't making that much sense. However, again, this isn't for everybody because you can cut it 10 ways. If you want to spend a bunch of money and you want to capture a customer because you believe that they're going to come back, you can and you should. It just depends on where you're allocating your cash. Yeah. So people who are watching this where they are saying, well, yeah, but can't you just spend $10,000 a month and then just go get a lot more customers? Sure, of course. I mean, if I wanted to do 100,000, I'm just using numbers, right? If I wanted to do $100,000 a month, You can. You can, and you can do it a couple different ways. One is you can buy them. You can buy the sales.
Yeah.
And I think that's where there's also a lot of confusion. It's also why we talk about why companies go out of business and the like. If you're heavily funded and you have investors who understand the metrics and understand this type of e-com play, that's another thing. You know, you can pay to play. And it may be a strategy for us as we continue to evolve and get better and the like, because we also do know our return rate. I actually posted that before. You know, we got 40% of our customers on Amazon come back again. That's a good number. So it's like 42%. So anyway, that's my answer to that. No, we don't spend on ads.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I was talking to another potential client a while back, and they had I think it was a vegan supplement or something. And they were banging their head against the walls trying to get this, the supplement going with pretty generic keywords. And they went to, I wanted to ask you about this. They ended up trying the keto keyword, right? Because their supplement was ketogenic, or it works in the diet, and it just blew it up. It blew it up to the point where, they're getting 10x return on ad spend. Do you find that with iWon? Like, you obviously is it vegan? It's vegetarian or vegan?
Majority of our flavors are vegan. 90% of our products are vegan.
Yeah. I mean, have you found these other, like, keto has been just this insane trend in the food industry, as I'm sure you're more aware than I am. Have you guys latched onto that and seen growth off that?
What's keto? I'm not a fan of FYI. I say that.
That's fair.
I talk about that too. I'm not a fan of low to no carb eating or diet strategies. But again, more power to you. Again, this is for everybody. This is just my take.
Totally.
Into balanced eating fats and carbohydrates and healthy ones and stuff like that. But with that said, the answer is yes, because it too. There's software now. It's for nothing. It's cheap software now that can deliver you on what keywords could potentially work for you and your strategy.
Exactly.
I don't know specifically which ones we've thrown out. I'm sure because we are, our carb levels could be deemed as lower carbs in some sense, especially if you're not going to eat a whole bag. So sure, certain keywords like that are going to work for some more than others. And also if you're just, sort of lucky and you found yourself some good leads that way, that's fantastic.
Nice. I wanted to ask briefly about your influencer strategy, because again, you mentioned, I read in another one of your interviews that influencers were a big part of the growth of the brand. And again, almost every time we deal with influencers, we're talking about influencers that go direct to consumer. We're using whitelisted launches where we're promoting the post through their accounts, things like that. Can you talk a little bit about your influencer strategy and how it worked for retail?
I've been in, because of the health space, I had a couple sport bag companies before this. So I know that type of environment really well. We call them partners in the sense that they get product from us and then they deliver content in any fashion that they like. We have a big influencer group, a big number, and we are really good at it. And I'll tell you why. One is our product is legit. I mean, it's just, I say this, I say it because I'm a brand owner and the like, but like legitimately the product tastes amazing. The second piece is it's nutritionally sound for all the right reasons. It's none of this like diet jargon stuff. It's just made from real foods, ones and you can pronounce and you get it. So when you couple that and you go, all right, let me give it to some people who we believe will like it, it works. The second piece to it is we don't ask them for anything. I'm not into you need to post. You need to give a story. I think that's lame, straight up. And I think people like that. I think they appreciate the fact that I'm like, take these snacks. You want to hook us up and give us some love? Do it. And I will tell you that it works very well for us. The other thing is, I know most of these people. They don't get an email from my associate. They get an email from me. You know, I'll give you some, you know, some advice, like say hi to them every so often, you know, like what you right? You know, it's funny. Some would be like, well, of course. So no, most people don't. They don't even recognize the partnership there. They'll get an email from me saying, I'm just checking in to say hi. You know, you got to be real. And I think that there's a lot of value to, and you should be leaning heavily into that type of thinking and that type of just style if you want to have true long-standing partnerships.
Nice. Okay, last question here. If you had 50K, just a 50K grant given to you right now, what part of your business would you put it into in order to accelerate things?
That's good. I would say you want to continue to do promotions. So we call it trial. So with our retail partners, you're going to want to and need to continue to do promotions, whether we're going through this type of thing now or not. But the thing that most emerging brands are sacrificing right now is the trial piece, because you can't get demos going. So you've got to figure out, how else can I get a customer at, you know, point of sale to try the product? And oftentimes it's promotion. And then it's, you know, with your business, you'd want me to say, throw it up against direct to consumer. I'm not saying we wouldn't do that either. I'd say that there's a big piece that you should be looking at too in terms of trial. Maybe we do go back to that D2C play to the website, right? Maybe we take 10,000, we get very strategic about, you know, who it's being pointed at in terms of demo and driving a really great funnel and the like, and seeing if we can turn something there.
Is there a trial play that could happen direct to consumer? Or is that just too, you'd have to come up with a smaller variety pack or something? That was something else that came from our team. Is there that opportunity to capture an email, capture a small form or something, and actually send out a small sample?
Do they have to? Is it free?
Well, you could do free. You could do free plus shipping, I imagine, but it would be, you'd want to cover your costs with the trial.
I'd say customers should probably take me up on when market's really generous, because I do it all the time. I give away free bags all the time, and I have a direct link that I send out to people, and I go, hey, I'm hooking you up with a free bag today. Fill this out. They don't do anything. They don't pay for anything. I put it in this beautiful single box we made, and we ship it to them. So that's one piece of the trial. The second piece is, if you want to get, you know, really, you know, try to actually grow something from the direct to consumer, so it's not a wild, you know, throw out there. Sure, maybe here's 3 single serve bags, right, for $2. You know, I mean, whatever it may be. And you're right, you collected their email, you drove in maybe 1,000, you know, trial prospects there, and see, of those 1,000, you know, can you get a good percentage of them back to actually buy? It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I think it'd be something interesting to consider, especially with like a novel product, right? That especially one that you're also so confident in the quality of it. I wanted to ask, what's your favorite flavor?
You know, right now it's the Korean barbecue.
Ooh, that's good.
It is an amazing flavor profile.
That's too funny, because I'm a chip connoisseur. My brother actually hosts a yearly event called Chips, and people bring chips from all over the world, and they give out the worst chip, the best chip, the chip that's traveled the farthest. And the one that won last year was Korean barbecue, because I was like, I am so sick of barbecue. I've had so many different flavors of barbecue. You cannot reinvent the barbecue wheel. And then Korean barbecue comes through and just blows my mind. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, now is the part of the show that we all have to look at our cameras and make a face for our YouTube frame. Are we ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Okay, that's perfect. Thanks so much. I want to thank you so much for coming on the hot seat today. This was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about this kind of business. And yeah, thanks so much again. We'll see you on LinkedIn.
I appreciate it, guys. You have a great day.
Mark,
we'll
really
be-
appreciate it, man. It was excellent meeting you. Lots of knowledge coming out of that. It's great.
We'll be
No
hitting you up
problem.
about those samples because we're about to get back into our
Do
office
it.
in the next
I'm
coming weeks.
serious.
And this
Do
office
not
has
be,
no
do
snacks.
not be shy. Just on the email, just each of you put your, if you can throw it on the same one, your addresses, and my associate will send them out.
Hell
That's
Done
yeah.
deal, man. Love it.
We'll get them
Appreciate
sent
it,
to the
guys.
office. All right, cheers. We missed the space launch, but it's because
It's
it got
okay.
pushed
It got
back.
scrubbed. It didn't happen. It got held off due to weather. So
Yeah, it never. Usually, I don't think it does.
no,
Nice.
totally, man.
Okay, thanks, guys. See you
Be
soon.
good.
Okay,
Later,
bye.
guys.